Hey, everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs, and brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international war-ring author Being Almost Zia Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We're here with a very interesting lady who's a two-time TEDx presenter, motivational speaker, and healing voice mentor, therapeutic singing trainer, composer, and performer, and founder of the Voices of Eden Ancient Wisdom and Healing Institute. She's got a book called Emergent Triumphant, Thrive Through Uncertainty, and she left for France in 91, moved to Israel in 94, and held herself at peace despite bombing in 3 Middle East bombings. And we'll talk about that and how she worked through all this, and also worked with PBS and CBS and more. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Hollywood, California. And she talks about how she emerged triumphant in her book, Emerged Triumphant Through Thrive Through Uncertainty. And ladies and gentlemen, the very multi-talented Eliana Gilad. Eliana, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Mike. It's wonderful to be here.
What's great to have you on board as well, too, is you're a two-time TEDx presenter, motivational speaker, healing voice mentor, therapeutic singer and trainer, also a composer, performer, founder of Voices of Eden, Ancient Wisdom and Healing Music Institute. And you left for France in 91, moved to Israel in 94. You held yourself at peace despite 3 bombings during the 3 Middle East wars, and use the techniques where you now teach as well, too. And you have a basic way of helping people. You've got a great story to tell, and how you emerged triumphant and you're thriving through uncertainty. And before getting all that, Eliana, tell us how you first got started.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Tell us how you first got started.
Oh, how did I first get started? Well, well, what do you mean first got started? Because I could answer that many, many different ways.
Well, talk about from the very beginning. Just go way.
All right, let's go way, way back then. All right. So when I was in first grade, I said, when I'm grown up, I'm going to have friends all over the world and I'm going to go visit them. Little did I know, that's pretty much how I have lived my life and continue to live my life. But I didn't grow up in an environment where that wasn't really known. And then, fast forward, I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and in the late 80s, I was in marketing and communications, and it was the big recession here that hit California very, very hard, and my job was being made redundant. In fact, they said to me, "We're not firing you, we're just not continuing your position, and look for another job." And I heard that word job, I thought, kill me now. I mean, I can't do it. I was maybe like some of the listeners, I was living this life that I was doing, getting along, doing. And there was something inside of me, from that little girl, at first grade. And I always sang and danced and I loved it. It's like, growing up in Hollywood, it's like either, being on stage, it's like be Michael Jackson, Barbra Streisand, or nothing else. And I loved the music, but I really did not like Hollywood, what I saw, because I could see behind the curtains and it really scared me. I wasn't interested in that. But I was interested in my creativity, and expressing myself was always important, but I wasn't really supported in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the recession came, in another 20, 30 years, everything's going to fall apart at the seams. And I have an opportunity now to make my changes before I have to. Before I'm forced to.
Mm-hmm.
If I jump into the unknown now, when everything falls apart in another 20, 30 years, then I'll already be on the other side of those changes, and then I'll be able to really come back and really be of service and help others. And really that is what has happened. And what got me to jump off to leave the US was that I figured, two things like this. I was really scared to jump off into the unknown because I could fail. I didn't know what to expect. How am I going to earn a living? What will they say? I've never done that before. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could keep on going like I was going. And the terror of not daring to find out what this inner something that was guiding me all along, it terrified me more that I might get to the end of my life and not discover what that was. And that scared me more than the terror of jumping off. And and that's what got me to leave and fast forward from there. I've just continued living that way. It's like maybe that's one of the tips that I want to leave here is that now we're in such times of change, and nothing, you can't count on anything from the outside, and the systems are falling apart, and divisiveness is on every corner, and it's either the worst thing or it's the best thing, and which do you prefer? And I would really invite you to consider jumping off into the unknown, because you're going towards something, towards what maybe you don't know, but it's expansive. And when change happens, there's always an expanse and always contraction, and we're in a period of contraction now to
Mm-hmm.
evolve humanity and the world and history into a new phase.
Mm-hmm. And also too, you seem to hold yourself pretty good. You left for France in 91, moved to Israel in 94, and you held yourself at peace despite bombings during 3 Middle East wars, and using the healing, empowering techniques which you now teach. And maybe just tell us about some of the bombings that went on, and also how did you hold yourself at bay, and how do you get others to use the same principles like teach and everything else.
Well, first you have to want to.
Mm-hmm.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And I'm not here to, the whole reason that I'm here on this podcast and in this media tour for the launch of Emerge Triumphant, it's to, I hope, to be an instrument, a model, just model by being myself. I don't, I may have been a broadcaster for CBS. It was if you watched the Olympics in 1992, it was my voice that you heard in the opening and closing ceremonies. And that's when I prayed to use my voice for a higher purpose, and Voices of Eden is the result. I'm here to share that we can't control what goes on outside.
Mm-hmm.
We can control what goes on inside. And, if you find yourself wanting to make a change or needing to make a change, you're going to die if you don't make a change.
Right. Yes.
It just ain't working anymore. But, the voices inside, those will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have always found it so useful, and continue to find it useful, to listen inside and break the habit of giving power away to the outside. Over that, you have 150% control. It is not a popular thing. You'll have lots and lots and lots and lots of friends if you want to diss and be a victim, and this is caca and that's caca. That's how the commercial media works, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, any social media, or whether it's a television station or a radio station. That's how the majority works. I very consciously extricated myself from that. I very consciously am here to share a voice of recovery, a voice of presence, a voice of health, because that is your nature. You have all of the answers inside of you, but you have to stop giving away your power. And if you're really ready to have a positive change, there is so much support out there for you. And when I was in in the 2006 war in northern Israel, so what happens is you have to go to when the Katyusha is the name of the missile. So when the Katyusha comes, the system, meaning there's a what do they call it? I'm not thinking of the word. So, to let you know that there's a siren that goes off to give you 90 seconds to get to a bomb shelter or a safe room in your home. If it's newer homes have to have safe rooms in them. Or if you're in an older home like I had, then you have to go to an inner room where there's no window. And so mine was in the little hallway between the water closet and the bathroom. And I was sitting there one day and go, God, how come we can't all just live in peace? Why? How come, why do they have to bomb? How come, and this voice inside of me says, in silence, well, Eliana, you want everybody to behave the way you want them to? How well can you live in peace when bombs are dropping? There are bombs everywhere in the world, maybe not physical ones, but how do you expect to live in peace if you can't live in peace in war? And it really stopped me. Wow. Clean up my own yard. How peacefully am I living with myself? Or am I expecting the whole world to change so that I'll feel comfortable? And that's how, so many of us live, expecting the world to change. How's it working for you?
Right. Yeah. And I think that's really important as well, too. And of course, it made me think of the question as well, too. It's saying, why do we listen to critical voices inside of us? And why are we really that afraid to use the voices?
Right. Well, because we're not listening to ourselves, and that is scary. I mean, it's scary when, there's a deeper part. Do you have like a nudge even now, when everything's changing and, necessity can be the mother of invention. And research shows that when we listen to that part that doesn't make sense, that some of the world's biggest inventions have actually come about through disasters.
Yes. And mistakes, too. And I remember that mistakes and, of course, accidents and everything else. And, of course, the beloved post-it notes that you see all over the place,
No,
which
that's a great one. Yeah.
yeah, and a great story was that an engineer at 3M accidentally spilled glue onto a piece of paper, and so when he realized that paper was sticking and went up and post a note and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I spilled the glue." It's like he took that note with the glue and stuck it on there, and thus a post-it note was born.
Well, that's such a great example. All right, so there's a calamity, supposed calamity, that turned into like the greatest idea. So you can take that, like the nudge that you have inside of you that maybe you don't have words for it. That's your true voice speaking. The reactions to the fear, that is not your real voice. That's your critical voice. That's a learned habit. And that is going to take you into dangerous neighborhoods. going into your mind alone. I don't want to go there alone.
Mhm.
And you have a choice because your nudge, it's right where you are. And when you listen, this is what I've learned and continue to learn. When I listen to that voice and follow its guidance, it always, but always takes you to great places. And, like to the 3M, like to a new discovery. So you are sitting with proverbial and literal gold inside of you. And it is dangerous when you don't dare to respect it because you invite that back. And it's dangerous because your hypertension increases, your stress increases, you react to the negative voice, and the cortisol from the fear
Mhm.
that we live with. It's really dangerous.
Mhm.
You listen to your hunches and you dare act upon them.
Mhm.
Take you to good places, and yeah, you might think you're going to die in the
Mhm.
short run,
Right.
but it always takes you to good places, and it empowers you, and you end up with confidence, and because you've taken the courage to take your path less traveled. And if you reach out for others who are doing the same, you're not alone. You aren't.
Mhm. Right. Yes.
Just not the majority, but we don't need majority. It's quality over quantity.
Mhm.
And I know you know this when you've actually listened to yourself, or the critical voices go blah 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 blah, and you go, thank you, but I'm moving ahead anyway. Or
Well, that's why we got headphones on too to cut that stuff out. So yeah. And of course, this all goes back to ancient times as well too. And you actually took it to a whole new level. Talk about the very beginnings along with your book. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews, and Eve 11 enjoys Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for It Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com on over 40 podcast platforms, heard in over 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple Music. Also on BitChute, Rumble, Acast, Red Circle, and also on HamiltonRadio.net every Thursday night at 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central, and a few networks coming soon. Take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also t-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. I'll support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Make sure you do so today. We're here with a terrific lady who's a 2-time TEDx presenter, motivational speaker, and healing voice mentor, and the founder of Voices of Eden and the book Emerging Triumphant thrive through uncertainty here on the Mike Wagner Show. And yeah, I think you just took a cue from me. That is very good.
Wow, you're such a great shill.
Well, you know something,
Oh,
and
this
you got.
I love that because if you're wanting hope and you're wanting to overcome your fear, and instead of being triggered by negativity and doubt and sensationalism, and you're wanting to feel sensational, this is definitely for you.
Well, you know something?
At voicesofeden.com/book, you can see where this takes place. You can receive a free workshop to experience this. It's not a cognitive book. It's a kind of like a workbook that helps you to connect to the hunches inside and connect your inner clarity, or first of all, to help you connect to your clarity, to go beyond that monkey mind.
Monkey mind, I like that.
And then connect it with your outer expression.
That is rather interesting. And of course, with the book, Emerge Triumphant, Thrive Through Uncertainty. And what exactly inspired you to write the book?
That's very interesting. So after I left CBS, after the Olympics, I again found myself working for a living, and at New Year's, it was around this time, like 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was. It was exactly 30 years ago. It was around December of 1992.
Mm-hmm.
And I made my New Year's resolution. Can you repeat the question again? Because I want to stay on point.
Oh, that's fine. It's like, tell us how
I wrote it. Right. Thank you.
How exactly the book.
Yeah, the impetus for it is that after CBS, do you want the whole story?
Sure, why not?
All right. So the question that motivated me is like, why am I here? What am I doing here? What am I supposed to do? I believe that every person has a role and a gift, and that's what we're meant to share in this world. But I didn't have a lot of models to show me that. It was something from the inside. So I left CBS, and I said, if there is some if this is real, then show me. It's like, I can't a job for a living. I don't think that's all there is. And I'm walking my talk. I'm out on a limb. Life is hard, it's hard, uprooting yourself from, your place of origin to a foreign country where you don't know anyone. And so I'll walk this, this to the ledge one more time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you exist, show me, like, what am I supposed to do? Because I'm not going to just take jobs for money anymore. I felt like a whore. I looked good on the outside, but on the inside, I felt it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
I totally understand that split personality. I totally understand it.
Yeah, I felt like, it's like that imposter syndrome, I look great, and so I decided that I wouldn't take work just for money anymore. And the voice goes, "Oh, you're gonna die, you're gonna die."
What was that, Dorothy the Wicked Witch behind that one, or what?
Yeah, you're gonna like buy bread with your faith? Come on, like, that's not real. But I was on, it was do or die for me. It was that important. And so I said no enough times that I ran out of money. In 2 days, I didn't eat.
Oh my goodness.
Now I can always go back to the States. I always figured there's always McDonald's. I mean, I can always get a job. That's not the point. And I had this monthly Metro card so I could ride the trains. And I heard about this support group for creativity. And I know, well, I'm going to go there and maybe I'll get some inspiration. And so from the metro station to the meeting place, I remember that you were supposed to bring something creative to share with the group, and I didn't have anything creative. I go, I'll sing that Hebrew spiritual from Hebrew school from my childhood if I have to, but I'm not going to have to. I'm going to sit in the corner and imbibe inspiration. And I get to the room and they're sitting in, it's like a circle. There were no corners. So I sat at the end and I just prayed that time would be done for this, gathering before they got around the circle, and that didn't happen. I was like the last person, and I sang this Hebrew spiritual, and there was this focus in the room. And afterwards, I shared what I was going through, that I was on this do or die mission,
Mm-hmm.
and that if there really is a higher power than answer me now, if there isn't, then let me know. I'll go back to LA. I won't ask any more questions. And this guy came up to me afterwards and with his finger in my face, he goes, your voice speaks and you have work to do with your voice. And he puts his hand in his jeans pocket and he takes out this crumpled piece of paper, and on it he writes 2 train stations. He said, tomorrow morning, you go to Don Ferrocho station, you get on the RERB train, the name of the train, and you sing that song. The people on the train need to hear that.
Wow.
And I'm like, the man's certified loony. If I'm not going to work for a living, I'm certainly not going to get on a train and then sing, but inside, like the bells rang, and I fortunately had, like, I went home like shaking in my boots, and the next morning I actually got up. I went to the train station. The people were getting on the train. I'm like, no way, I'm not getting on that train. What am I, homeless? What do they think? What do they say about me? What do they think? And the doors closed, and at the last minute, I like open it up, and I jump on the train, and everybody's sitting there with a book and papers. It's before the days of cell phones. And I go, good morning. I have a small song to start off the day on the right foot. And the papers came down, and at the end, they're waiting for me to busk, to ask for money. And I'm like, so help me God. Either you answer me right now on the spot, or I will die here now. Choice is yours. But I'm not going to be asking for money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what came out of my mouth. I didn't come here to ask you for money. If I came here to ask you for something, it's that you respect yourself enough and do something kind for yourself today. Because if you'll actually do something kind for yourself today, then I've done my work big time. And I found myself walking up and down the aisles, making eye contact with each person, which is not acceptable in public in Paris. And I go, have a nice day. And they like pushed money in my hands. And I had no hat, no pocket. I'd brought nothing with me. I had this long dress on, and I made a pocket out of the fabric.
Oh, creative.
And I left that train, like, for the first time in my life, Mike, that was when I knew I'd made a difference. Because when I say that it was my voice that broadcast to the 50 million viewers in the States, it's impressive. I did it the same way that I sang on the train, but that impressed me, and that was the important thing. That nobody had to say, whether it didn't matter what anybody else had to say. And I got a job that week. I went every day, and then I got a job offer, and I had to decide whether I was going to continue or not. Because if I took the job, I would have gotten a really nice salary. It would have been very cushy, but I wouldn't be able to go on the trains. And
Mm-hmm.
fortunately, I had the courage to turn down the job offer, because I realized that my role was to use, that I finally found my place, that my role was to use music in a way that helps us connect within. And that the other part of my work is to use media for constructive purposes.
Hmm.
And that's why I'm here now. I'm making good on that commitment I made 30 years ago. And then this is the long-winded answer to your question of why the book, because these amazing stories happen on this train. And I would tell people, and over again, they go, "Oh my God, that's amazing. That's like a movie. That's a story. You gotta, it's a book. You gotta write that down." And I said, I will one day.
Mm-hmm.
So Miriam's Secret and this Thrive Through Uncertainty and Quiet in the Eye of the Storm, they're all making good on that commitment of the daring to jump off into the unknown, and it continues to this day. Only, and I just, it brings such meaning to life when you can get out of bed in the morning and be of service to others, and to help them to have hope, and to heal whatever pain and anxiety and fear that we all have. But there are answers, and I don't know, it just, I don't know, it's just a wonderful way to live.
Mm-hmm. And certainly very indeed as well too. You did a lot of therapeutic singing, and you also pioneered the way you did it too. It's like, I don't need to tell about that, but this is also used in ancient times as well too, that it's been also used during that process too. It's just like, we talked about the 3M story, and also accidental, another one too, where it's like it's also healthy as well too, just like another accidental story where this guy actually was freezing cold up in up in Minnesota, and he was looking for something to eat, had like this mushy gruel or whatever it is, and he let overcook or something, and it got hard up on top. When he ate it, it's like, have something eats really cold. And of course, believe it or not, it was cornflakes, and that's how cornflakes was born.
Oh,
And this
really?
was done long time ago too. So we'll tie it in that, how is this used for healing, and how's it used for like soothing and everything else too, just like, providing comfort and everything else.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can just talk more as well too, like, the healing, comfort, and everything as well too in your book.
Oh, yeah. Well, that brings us to the prophetess Miriam, who most people don't know who she is, but it's actually her leadership which allowed for Moses, the guy with the Ten Commandments,
Mm-hmm.
his older sister. She prophesied his birth. And it's she who, through feminine leadership, which doesn't need accolades. It knows its own value. It has its own esteem. It doesn't go, "Look at me, I'm the leader." Follow
Mm-hmm.
me. That's masculine. I don't mean man or woman, but that presence, kind of like we were talking about the seasons, of snow, how it turns to water in the spring, and that Mother Nature, that's feminine power, that it all exists at the same time, and it's cyclical, it's round, like these drums. You see, these are the most ancient drums known to mankind.
Wow, interesting.
They date back 30 to 50,000 years. They're in Western Turkey. There's a archaeological site where the frames of the first one were found, and you know how they were first made. From, you were talking about corn, but they were sieves, through sieves,
Mm-hmm.
wheat and grains, and they would put hides on top, and those are the first musical instruments.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think we'll do a segment next time on the actual first inventions and how they're used for healing and everything else. I think that's a really good one.
Well, in those days, the use of music and rhythm were used for spiritual and healing and engineering purposes, architecturally, medically. In my second TED Talk, if you want to see this, it's astounding. The second talk is called Trust Your Silent Voice. And you can see how sound moves boulders. They say that's how the pyramids were built, through sound. Because in ancient times, we were really, really sophisticated in our knowledge of the use of sound. And I always intuitively knew, what if it, look at these drums, right? You know how in the biblical text it says, and Miriam led the women, you know, when the seas parted, leading in song and dance. And in the English translation and the way we cognitively think, oh, singing and dancing. No, no, no. But first of all, how could that happen? Look at these drums, they're skin. How would you be able to drum on skin through water? Doesn't make sense. But what if the voices parted the water? And I would never dare say that out loud until my second TED Talk. I found a research from the University of Zurich where they used vibration and it parts water particles. And I have a little 20-second video in there where you see the spigot. They turn a spigot, you know, of a water coming, and then they turn on the spigot with the sound, and the flow of water parts, the water parts, and you just see little droplets dancing in the air. It's amazing. So that's what this Voices of Eden is, the resurgence. You know, it's a therapeutic singing system that I built based on research that we conducted for 3 years during war in Israel in a hospital that serves a 50-50 Israeli-Palestinian population. And then when I went back to see what did I do every week for 3 years, then I built a model based on what I did. And that's what I've been teaching and showing other people, how to unleash their own voice and, you know, find their true voices and calm their anxiety. And
and how can this be used for medicine as well, too?
well, it's medically proven to lower stress and anxiety and increase focus.
Okay.
But there have been other applications for stroke and cancer. I had a client about 8 years ago who was stage 4 cancer, jaw cancer. He looks like 20 years younger now. He's doing so well now, but he was like, you know, he was willing to do anything because there was no result. But the thing is, how this approach works is that it's based on the knowledge that the essence of all matter is vibratory. And so when you connect to the source of the sound in the silence behind it, you basically are connecting to the source of all power. And that's what the ancient prophetesses and healers knew how to wield. And I'm a member of that tribe. It's my lineage. It's 5,000 years old. But we just had Hebrew New Year. It's 5738. And this technology is much older than that. And so now it's coming back. It's coming back for modern use.
And how can people experience this?
By going to voicesofeden.com. And that's why I said before, if you go to /book, there's a really cool, like a 1-minute video there, and you'll hear the sounds and you'll see it's recorded in one of the ancient sites on the Mediterranean coast. It's go see it. Go listen yourself and see how you respond.
We will certainly
You're
do that
saying,
after this, and we'll certainly do that. Hopefully, no accidental occurrences will happen. And what's come up for Eliana Gilad, along with her book, Emerging Triumphant. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios. Visit online at SoundCloudStudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson, Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with the author of Emerge Triumphant, Eliana Gilad, after this time. We're back with author Eliana Gilad of Emergent Triumph here on the Mike Wagner Show, and you gave us a great story about your story about how you discovered healing, sound, and your travels and everything. What else can you expect from you in 2022 and 23 and beyond?
what expect?
What else can we expect from you in 2022 and
Oh,
23?
yes. Well, I'm very, very, very excited about uh, the free workshop that was actually birthed through the launch of Emerge Triumphant. And it's been so fun that I decided to continue it. And again, like I said before, it's like this culmination, full circle of this 30-year process of making good on that promise. And if you want to attend, you'll find it at the top of the website of voicesofeden.com and voicesofeden.com/book. It's ancient tools to help you get clear when life isn't exactly going your way. And in that workshop, you'll be able to experience a process that one of these tools and processes that come from the book, but we go a lot deeper because it's experiential, and you'll be able to experience it live, not in your head. In fact, take you out of your head. So I'm just so excited about that because this is many years in the making. And, after 30 years, I'm at a very new beginning. It's very heartening to, meet so many amazing people who are coming in, who are ready to really show up themselves. I'm humbled. I'm humbled by the courage of spiritually minded entrepreneurs who are really ready, who are feeling that it's their time. And it really is an honor to support others. I get my yayas out of that, and so we have like, if this interests you, well, your next step is the book, and then there's Find Your True Voice, which is a jumpstart workshop to help you be able to speak your true voice in situations, maybe with people who might not exactly understand you, or in difficult situations. And I'm really, really focusing that my 2022 and 2023 is going back to the beginning of how to speak your truth, connect to your truth, connect to your inner voice, your inner clarity. And your voice is an instrument that bridges that inner clarity to your outer expression. And I personally, I'm going to be moving to Portugal.
Nice.
Yeah. And we're going to start up live retreats again next year. So I'm very excited about that.
And we're certainly looking forward to it as well. Eliana, keep us up to date. And who do you consider your biggest influence in your career? Come on, inner voice.
No, I'm Bobby McFerrin.
Oh, yes,
Because
yes.
Bobby McFerrin, when I was in music school in Israel, Bobby McFerrin was brought in. Bobby McFerrin came to perform in Israel with the Israeli Philharmonic, and he came to our school, and we had a workshop with him and could ask questions. And that was the first time I dared to say, I said, where does your voice come from? How do you know, and then I listened, and listening to his response was so affirmative for me because it connected to what I had practiced on the trains and how I was practicing. It was not about voice, it was about letting go of the blocks that stop it. And so I dared speak out loud my vision. Said, you know, I have this, like I said about the train, and then I have this vision, you know, of using voice and music, but not as a performance, you know, as a means of connection. He said, well, I actually just started doing that. We have that's when he started Voicestra, when they would go on stage and people would just, they would improvise on stage. And
Oh, wow.
I was so honored. I was invited. He invited me to go on stage and to perform with him. So that was really, I mean, if the one person, it's him, because he has dared to listen to his inner voice and to share it, and that has helped me to dare take these steps where there's been no precedence.
That's certainly interesting. I guess "Don't Worry, Be Happy" does take on a whole new meaning. I got to say that.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
To listen to yourself, to dare stop long enough to listen inside. Stop giving your power away outside if you want to be happy. Because your answers really are inside. Your voice really, really makes a difference.
I think a little Bobby McFerrin just came out of you. I could tell. So it's really amazing. I have to listen to myself for a change to encourage everybody to do the same thing. We're author Eliana Gilad of Emerge Triumphant, Thrive Through Uncertainty here on the Mike Wagner Show. Eliana, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot from you. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. And once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your books or check out your works or services?
Well, this book, you can, it's available on Amazon. You can go to voicesofeden.com/book, where you can also access the free workshop. That it's a gift that is included with this book. And if you just want to immediately go to the workshop, go to the workshop. This is available both in print and in Kindle. And voicesofeden.com is that's the main website. You'll find everything there.
We will certainly check that out. Once again, Eliana, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Great stories. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. We wish you all best, and you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you.